Wow. That's a funny. Substitutability. That was funny. Only one paragraph for each resource, though. It's not gonna be. Like, you would think there'd be 4 paragraphs for each resource because there's 4 of these things for each one. I don't know. But I guess I'm just gonna spend like 1 or 2 sentences on each one. Total of 3 paragraphs. Well, isn't that fun? Taxi services as opposed to Uber and Lyft. Hmm. Uber. That was funny. I'm assuming medallion means it's a license. That was funny. Okay. Recall that resources and capabilities must be rare and valuable as well as difficult to imitate or substitute in order for a firm to obtain competitive advantages that are sustainable over time. Exhibit illustrates the relationship among the four criteria of sustainability and shows the competitive implications. Oh. So, I mean, there's so many different combinations of that stuff. Like, man, what if it's not rare, but it is difficult to imitate? Maybe it's just that's not a possible combination. Oh, geez. Competitive disadvantage. Competitive parity, temporary competitive advantage. Sustainable. I guess I don't need my jacket. I don't feel that cold. So, that was funny. That was funny. In firms. So, valuable and rare. In both cases, the resources and capabilities are not difficult for competitors to imitate or substitute. Here, the firms could attain some level of competitive parity. They could perform on par with equally endowed rivals or attain a temporary competitive advantage. But the advantage would be easy for competitors to match. It is only in the fourth row where all four criteria are satisfied that competitive advantages can be sustained over time. All four of them. Ow. 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 Ew. Ow. Oh. Ew. Ew. Oh. That was fun. Oh. Leveraging artificial intelligence to increase the sustainability of an advantage. Man, a whole page on that. A whole extra page. I don't know if I need to read it. You know what? Screw this. Not reading that. Ugh. Let's see here. Cost leadership. I have to read this boring stuff. Oh. Dude, what? No, it's so long. Oh. 145. Oh no. Oh. The first new management layers to reduce overhead costs, standardized accounting practices to minimize personnel required, human resource management, minimize costs associated with employee turnover through effective policies, effective orientation and training programs to maximize employee productivity, technology development, effective use of automated technology to reduce scrappage rates, expertise in process engineering to reduce manufacturing costs, procurement, effective policy guidelines to ensure low-cost raw materials with acceptable quality levels, shared purchasing operations with other business units. Inbound logistics. Effective layout of receiving dock operations. Effective use of quality control inspectors to minimize rework. Outbound logistics. Effective utilization of delivery fleets. Marketing and sales. Purchase of media in large blocks. Sales force utilization is maximized by territory management. Service. Thorough service repair guidelines to minimize repeat maintenance calls. Use of single type of vehicle to minimize repair costs. $2,000 for a car? For a brand new car? Ooh. No power steering. No passenger side mirror. What? What? No passenger side mirror? Why? Why? That. Oh my goodness. Dude, I gotta see what this looks like. I mean, it can't just be any car that has this basic shape, right? Dude, there is a passenger side mirror. Like, what? Wait, this car doesn't have a mirror in. Wait a. What? There is not even a mirror on the driver's side on that specific car. This one doesn't have mirrors either. My goodness. What? Like, what? How can you drive without a mirror? You can't. I mean, you can. You can like look back a lot instead of looking at the mirror. Like a bunch of these do have mirrors, but some of them don't. I mean, how much can it possibly add to the price of the car to add a mirror? Oh, you know what? I think all of these cars that are listed in these pictures have the steering wheel on the right side. I don't know. Wait a minute. Like they only have a mirror on one side of the car or something. Dude, those tires are so small. What? My goodness. What the? Stop. I mean, there's probably newer models of the car coming out. Anyways. Aldi. Oh, that's fun. Aldi. I've never heard of Zulily or whatever that is. I didn't even know Aldi was originally German. Have I ever even been in an Aldi? I don't know. Have I ever gone inside an Aldi before? Bring their own bags? What? Wait a minute. We have to bring our own bag. Well, or do they sell their bags? Because, like, bring their own bags, bag their own groceries. Okay. Time for time.
Now that you've identified the competitive advantage of a company, you need to identify how the company carries out its identified the competitive advantage of a company, now that you've identified the competitive advantage of a company, you need to identify how the company carries out its competitive advantage. They do this by employing particular strategies. In Lesson 2.2, you will be examining why a company chooses a particular strategy. To do your analysis, you need to first understand the levels of strategy and their purpose, and the reasons or drivers behind choosing a particular strategy. First, let's review the 3 levels of strategy. It is important to distinguish between them. As you work with your company example for Lesson 2.2, you'll want to clearly identify what type of strategy is being used. Corporate level strategies are broad and nonspecific and are generally long-term strategies. Business level strategies, often referred to as generic strategies, are mid-range strategies. They are generally seen as ways to operationalize the corporate level strategies. Functional strategies are tied to functional areas of a company, like HR, finance, or marketing. They involve the day-to-day decisions that are needed to make a business level strategies happen. Let's look more closely at the corporate level strategies. Corporate level strategies lead a company in an overall direction. All corporate level strategies involve some type of diversification. For example, a company may not have all the in-house skills necessary to enter a market. The company may form a joint venture with another company so that both companies can draw on the unique skill sets each company brings to the joint venture. The textbook discusses corporate level strategies based on why a company would choose to diversify. Companies diversify for several different reasons, such as reaching economies of scope or increasing market power. However, for the purpose of our analysis, we would like us to concentrate on the ways companies can diversify. There are 2 types of diversification, related and unrelated. Basically, related diversification is just what it sounds like. A company chooses to seek a strategic fit with another company. Companies can be a good strategic fit if they share common processes, internal capabilities such as key skills or technological expertise. Unrelated diversification is where companies wish to move into markets or industries where they don't have expertise or where they may find a lesser degree of strategic fit. For example, diversification could result in participation in an unrelated industry. Companies can diversify using several different approaches. They can vertically integrate, merge or acquire another company, or participate in strategic alliances or joint ventures. All of these methods focus on the general overall direction of the company and can be used to carry out the general vision of a company. You should note that not all companies have corporate level strategies. Smaller companies may choose not to diversify. When we speak about business level strategies, we are referring to the next lower level of strategies. Business level strategies, referred to in your text as generic level strategies, are focused on carrying out the corporate level strategy. The purpose of a generic level strategy is to carry out the competitive advantage of the company. Note the 4 strategies are differentiated by the size of the market, a broad target market or a narrow market focus, and the type of application being used, differentiation or low cost. When you are defining the generic strategy for a business, you must clearly identify which of these 4 strategies is being used. You must choose one of the 4 strategies, not a combination. Pick the one that most closely aligns with the company's approach to the market. Finally, the 3rd layer of strategy is the functional strategy. These are the decisions made in each of the functional areas of a business, like human resources, marketing, finance. Each layer of strategy supports higher level strategies. So the overall direction comes from the corporate level strategies. Generic level strategies direct the day-to-day strategies in the functional areas. So, as you're determining which corporate or generic level strategy the company employs,
I accidentally watched the wrong video. That's funny.
In Unit 1, we looked at three major analysis tools: macro environment, 5 forces, and strengths, weaknesses. In Unit 2, we'll complete our overview of a company's position by defining its competitive advantage, examining internal resources and capabilities that support the competitive advantage, and identifying the types of strategy a company is currently employing. Defining a company's competitive advantage may be more difficult than you first imagine. Remember that a competitive advantage is something special that keeps the company successful, not just for today and not just for the next few years, but over a long period of time. Companies should devote key resources to the support of its competitive advantage. By doing so, the competitive advantage will remain an advantage no matter what the day-to-day external pressures are. Clearly identifying a competitive advantage is key to a company's ability to stay in business. Let's first talk about what competitive advantage is not. A competitive advantage is very rarely a product or a product feature. Products are an outcome of something the company does. Eventually, someone else will come up with a new and improved version of the product. However, the company's ongoing willingness to invest in research and development so that its products are at the cutting edge can be considered a competitive advantage. In the same way, the amount of market share it holds today doesn't qualify as a competitive advantage. Market share is often the outcome of some key internal capability, like a highly skilled marketing promotion team. Actions the company has taken is also not a competitive advantage. Actions are the results of external pressures. The effect of actions erode over time, and their impact will lessen as competitors also react. Finally, the strategy the company uses is not a competitive advantage. The strategy is how the competitive advantage is carried out. It is not the competitive advantage itself. To identify a competitive advantage, you are looking for a unique set of characteristics or capabilities within the company that carries them forward through all the changes in the macro environment or new developments in the industry. The competitive advantage does not have to be a huge differentiation, but it is how the company differentiates itself. Key to any competitive advantage's longevity are the resources that directly support the competitive advantage. These are internal resources. It's important to understand the difference between resources that support the competitive advantage and the competitive advantage itself. Ask yourself, what is absolutely key to keeping the competitive advantage going? Once you've identified the one or two key resources, you need to assess the viability of an internal resource. To do this, we use the VRIS test. VRIS stands for, is the resource valuable? Is it rare? Is it difficult to imitate? Is it hard to substitute? While a resource may not be all four, we need to be able to say a strong yes to at least two, preferably three, of these characteristics. Remember, the VRIS test is applied to the key resources that directly support the competitive advantage, not to the competitive advantage itself. This is a point where many students get confused. Students want to apply VRIS to the competitive advantage, but it is not the purpose of the VRIS test. By applying VRIS, you are identifying which resources are absolutely key to maintaining a competitive advantage over time. If a company can clearly articulate what its resources are key, then a company can focus on supporting those resources. Defining the competitive advantage and identifying the central resources that support it are not easy tasks. Look back in Chapter 1, where the definition of competitive advantage resides. As you prepare your paper for Lesson 5, think about what makes a company survive for all the forces of change that come from external pressures. Then think about how the company draws on its resources to directly support the competitive advantage.
I was just talking to myself without realizing there was no sound. The competitive advantage. Guys, you didn't read it closely enough. They listed 3 competitive advantages in our paper when it's supposed to be 1 competitive advantage and 3 resources that support the competitive advantage. So thanks for making my life difficult by completely screwing this up. Whoops. And cost leadership, is that even a resource / capability? That's more of a strategy. I don't think that counts as a resource. Hey, isn't that great? Isn't that great? Am I going to really try to fix their whole paper?